Hey there, this is Phillip. So I want to talk to you just for a moment about how we train. This is a really common question from clients is what's your ideology? What method do you use? Everybody's concerned about techniques and are they going to hurt the dog or mentally damage the dog in any way? And the answer to that is no. So here where we train at Ponderosa Pet Resort and at Phillip Paris Training, we are well versed in a lot of different applications. Everything from treat-based, food-based type motivation and training to the proper use of slip chains, slip collars, prong collars, and even the e-collars. And to be honest with you, they all have their place in training. And some people may not understand how they're used or why, but everything that we do here is incredibly humane. And when you see us work with the dogs, you'll see a dog that's really bonded to the handler, not working out of fear or anxiety. And in fact, a lot of our techniques remove anxiety from the dog in their work. And you got to remember that dogs are at the disadvantage here because the humans understand what we want the dog to do. The dog doesn't understand until we show him. And so a lot of what we do is to try and reduce the anxiety, reduce the stress in learning, because there's always some stress that goes with learning, even with humans. And so we do a little bit of everything, and we kind of let the dog dictate where we go. And I'll give you an example. If we get really passive dogs that are really eager to please, we can do a lot with food training, and we're big fans of food training. However, food training won't solve problems. If you've got the reactive dog who every time you're on a walk, he's lunging and barking at everything that passes, trying to work and treat through that will not work. No matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, it's just not going to work. We get clients all day long that they have tried to take that route and it just doesn't work. But if you've got a dog that's very passive, and that's our first order of business. When a dog comes in to train here, we start with food, and I've got some videos that I'll put up later of us working with some young dogs on nothing but food and getting the results that we want in the early stages of training. But we do use all the tools that are available to us. Training has come a long way in the last even 20 years, 10 years. And there's a lot of new things that we're doing and can do that are really neat, very humane for the dog, fun for the dog. And so I think good trainers know how to use all the tools on their tool belt, but also good trainers don't try to force the same tool for every dog. Just like humans, every dog may learn just a little bit different. How they're receiving what you're doing may be just a little bit different. And so you've got to be well versed enough to know how to come at it from the different angles if you get a dog that may not be understanding what you're doing here or there. And so we're able and we're very well skilled in all of the assets available to us to train dogs. And like I said, we train to the needs of the dog. And what I mean by that is that we're not going to train Fluffy the puppy who doesn't have any behavioral issues other than needing simple obedience. That dog is not going to be trained with the same mindset as the 100-pound German Shepherd who's coming in that's been lunging at everyone and is really reactive on the leash. Those are two different scenarios there, and so we know how to train to the dog and to what works best for the dog in that particular situation. But the one thing that you can rest assured is that all of our practices are incredibly humane and that you see a relationship between the trainer and the dog, and that is the important thing, and that relationship will not be built out of fear or untrust. Our dogs trust us, they respect us, and they work for us, and that's a key thing, and you'll see that in all the videos that we post. You will see that these dogs are happy, they're working, and everyone talks about the e-collar, the electronic training collar, and they're like, oh. And I think a big thing is perception. Today's e-collars are not the e-collars of yesterday, where they were purely a punitive, punishing factor to the dog. We have advanced since that, and technology has advanced since that. Today's electronic training collars really are just an extension of you to the leash, or an extension of the leash to the dog. It helps us as trainers communicate much more efficiently with the dog. And here's the thing, when you see us working a dog on an e-collar, most times you won't know what we're doing. And you won't even know that we're working on an e-collar unless you just happen to see it. and the dog is performing beautifully with no ill effect, not acting like their world is ending. Very, very advanced technology, very advanced way of thinking. It's a modern way of thinking, and it has zero negative effect on the dog. And you'll see that when these dogs work, whether we're using the e-collar, just a regular choke chain, a prong collar, a slip leash, give me a piece of string to wrap around a dog, and we can train a dog with that. So it's not so much about the tools that you use, it's how you use them, and are use them in their appropriate, intended fashion. You know, everybody with dogs wants to worry about, well, every rescue dog has been abused. And that's the story you get all the time. Oh, I rescued him, he's been abused. And truth of the matter is, who really knows what's going on? But everybody wants to know about the safety of the dog and things like that. And honestly, any tool can be used incorrectly in any walk of life, in anything. So don't focus on the tool that's being used, focus on the results and look at the psyche of the dog. A lot of times we get very aggressive, angry dogs, and we have to bring them we have to bring all of that into captivity, to where they are learning to calm themselves, learning calming behaviors, and learning to self-calm and to de-escalate. That's what we're all about. And we take a lot of pride that we've helped a lot of dogs that would have normally been euthanized due to aggression or perceived aggression. And it was just a dog that was acting out, a young, goofy dog, but everyone thought it was aggressive, and the truth of the matter is it wasn't. So all that being said is, when you're dealing with trainers, you want someone that's experienced and can explain to you why they're doing what they're doing and the benefit, and you should be able to see that benefit. They should not have to talk you in circles to convince you that their methods will work. That you should see it immediately. And we always tell our clients from the very first lesson, you're going to see changes in your dog, and good changes, positive things. And most people are blown away when they see what we do, and even in our first lessons, or if it's a board and trained dog, when the dog goes home. When we come out from the back and their dog is healing and waiting at doors, they can't believe it. And these are the good things that we do. And so don't get hung up on the method, because there's a lot of different opinions out there. Do what you feel is right for your dog. Trust us as trainers. We're going to be able to explain everything to you, and it's going to make sense to you. And you never have to worry that anything is going to be detrimental to your dog in any way. We've been around for a really long, long time and have a great reputation, and our dog work shows how good that we are at what we do, because we care about the dog and we care about the process. So I just wanted to reach out to you guys on equipment. I'll be doing some more about that, and we're going to be demonstrating each of the four main groups of training, whether it be a simple slip leather leash around the dog, a German prong collar, a choke chain, and an electronic training collar. We're going to be demonstrating all that on our YouTube page and all that, so that you can see and make up your own mind what works for you. And that's the big thing, is what works. That's the proof if it's a valued tool for your dog, is did it work or did it not work? I've seen dogs that have trained start to finish with nothing but food. I've seen dogs that we couldn't even get to sit for food. They didn't care. They did not care. And also, when you're dealing with dogs with varying levels of anxiety, food doesn't work. And the example that we give is, if you're in a situation that really makes you nervous or afraid, or you've got some other issues going on, and I say, hey, you want to go get pizza? You're like, no, your mind is not there. And food, when you're nervous or stressed or feeling anxious, is the last thing that you want. And so sometimes when we try to force that reward onto a dog who is naturally very timid or anxious, it just doesn't work. And so you've got to have a plan to do something different. And that's what we're very, very good at doing. And we kind of progress through different routes to find what works for the dog, because our end goal is to make sure that this dog gets trained or rehabilitated or to a much happier place. And that's our goal with all the dogs, that they're to a happier, much more confident place of working, and that the owners are happy and able to duplicate everything that we do. So stay tuned to our YouTube page and Facebook page. We're going to be putting a lot of stuff up there. It's going to take me a few months to record and do things, but we're going to try to show you and kind of take you along on the journey, so to speak, as we work with some of these dogs. So anyway, have a great day, and we'll see you on next time.